Hello and welcome to ABC Interactive English. I'm Mike.
I'm Rainbow.
And welcome back to our look at plastic pollution this month in our A Window on the World unit.
In yesterday's first part of the article, Plastic is Polluting Our Lives and the World, we learned a little bit about how big of a problem plastic is for our planet and all of the things that live in it, including us.
Plastic is so great and cheap and easy to use that we use lots of it in everything from planes and cars to clothes, right down to that humble plastic bottle and takeaway food container.
And a lot of this plastic, too much of it, will just end up in the garbage at some point where it will sit there
and sit there
for a longer period of time, polluting the environment
for decades or even centuries, hundreds of years. Your typical plastic bottle takes up to 500 years to break down naturally.
And because plastic is everywhere, and also because there are more people using it in more ways, it's becoming an even bigger problem, and we just can't ignore it anymore.
So, in our article today, we will be looking at some of the numbers about plastic pollution. And we have to warn you, these numbers are quite scary. But sadly, that's the nature of plastic pollution. It is scary.
So, along with some of these cold, hard facts, we are also going to look at some of the simple things that we can do to reduce our use of plastic, especially the kinds that we just throw away. But first, let's go ahead and check out all of today's new vocabulary. 第二天的文章讲到塑胶具体来说对我们的环境造成什么样的负担，还有环保的重要性。我们先来看几个单字。第一个 amount 总数，总数量是个名词。There is a large amount of information on the internet. There is a large amount of information on the internet. 网络上有大量的资讯。第二个单字 waste 垃圾废弃物也是个名词。Let's order less to create less food waste. Let's order less to create less food waste. 我们少点一点，这样就不会造成食物垃圾了。第三个单字 especially 特别尤其是个副词。I want to travel to every country, especially to Greece. I want to travel to every country, especially to Greece. 我想要到每一个国家旅行，特别是尤其是希腊。最后一个单字 recycle 回收，再利用是个动词。Don't forget to recycle those plastic bottles. Don't forget to recycle those plastic bottles. 别忘了回收那些塑胶瓶。好了，现在我们看完单字例句，一起回到课文中。
There's already a large amount of plastic waste now. Around 9 million tons of it enters our seas every year. By 2040, that could grow to 29 million tons. Also by 2040, the amount on land and at sea could grow to 1.3 billion tons. Scientists say that will happen if we don't change our ways. So, we need to take action right away.
Explanation 1.
So, as we know from yesterday's article, there's a lot of plastic garbage out there in the world right now. But to give us a clearer idea of the problem, let's begin our article for today by looking at some numbers to try to give us a real idea of this problem. And I've got to warn you, this could get ugly.
Well, the article begins by simply telling us what we all should know by now. It says, there's already a large amount of plastic waste now. Yes, we know this, but what does that mean, a large amount?
Yeah, well, let's read on to find out. Next it says, around 9 million tons of it enters our seas every year. 9 million. That's the number 9 followed by 6 zeros. That's a big number. I think we can all agree. But sometimes I find these big numbers, they're kind of hard for us to understand in the real world. 9 million tons. I mean, what does that mean? So I decided to compare it to the Taipei 101 building.
Okay.
You know, Taipei 101, it's really tall, it's really big, so it must be really heavy, right? Well, sure it is. But Taipei 101 weighs 705,000 tons. 1,000 tons. That's less than a million. So if you do the math, that means that we put 12.7 Taipei 101s of plastic garbage into our seas every year. Imagine that, 12.7 Taipei 101s of plastic garbage. Now it all kind of makes a bit more sense, right?
Right, that's a lot of plastic. 在这边加一个补充单字 ton 是公吨。我们读到海里面的垃圾有900万公吨，大约是12.7座台北101。And in just another 20 years, when we will all still be alive, hopefully, that number will grow a lot. We read, by 2040, that could grow to 29 million tons.
And that would be the same as 41 Taipei 101s of plastic garbage. So now do you see the problem? Yeah, me too. It's a big problem and it's growing. Well, along with all of these plastic problems, we also have a smaller grammar problem. But don't worry, Daphne is here to help us take care of that in our first 2 grammar points of the day.
大家好，我是 Daphne。今天的第一则文法是 by 2040，意思是在2040年之前。by 是时间介系词，意思是在某时间之前，不迟于某时间。例如 Leonardo will finish up the painting by the weekend. Leonardo 会在周末之前完成这幅画。第二则文法是 something grows to 意思是某物增加、扩展到。grow 是不及物动词，意思是增加、增长。三态式 grow grown。to 是介系词，意思是达到。例如 The food truck grew to a restaurant. 这间店原本是餐车，后来扩展成一间餐厅。
So clearly, we are putting way too much plastic into our seas and oceans. The same as 12.7 Taipei 101s of plastic garbage this year, and that will go up to 41 Taipei 101s of garbage in 2040. But it's not just the seas that we are polluting with our old plastic bottles, bags, boxes, and everything else that we make from plastic. As we read on, the article tells us, also by 2040, the amount on land and at sea could grow to 1.3 billion tons. That's billion, not million, and billion is 1,000 million.
Oh my goodness. So if we wrote this bigger number down, that would be 1 and then 3 and then 8 zeros. That's like how many Taipei 101s?
Are you ready? Are you ready for this? Sit down if you're not. Here we go. So this means that by 2040, we would be putting the same weight of plastic garbage as 1,844 Taipei 101s on the land and the sea. And remember, that would just be in that 1 year.
Oh my gosh.
Just in 1 year. So when we look at it this way, it becomes much easier to see how our dear old Mother Earth would have a tough time handling all of this garbage and pollution, right?
But if we want to try to find some good news out of all of this, all these scary numbers, Well, there is a good news. The good news is that at least for the numbers about the year 2040, this is the future. It hasn't happened yet. It's just what scientists are predicting if we don't do things differently. So we read, scientists say that will happen if we don't change our ways. If.
That's right. But we've all been waiting and putting this problem off for far too long. So no more of this, oh, I'll start to recycle more next month or next year. No. As we reach our break, we read, so we need to take action right now, today. Right. Well, let's take a break and then we'll be back.
We must cut our use of plastic, especially single-use plastic. We must also recycle more. If we don't, we might not have a life or a world left.
Explanation 2.
So I think it's very clear to us all by now that plastic is a big problem, and we have to do something about it right this minute and not wait until things get really bad. They're really bad right now.
Yeah.
So what can we do?
Okay, well, clearly, as we read next in the article, we must cut our use of plastic, especially single-use plastic. 在这边加一个补充单字 single use 中间有一个 hyphen 使用一次就丢的一次性的比如 single use plastics 就是一次性使用的塑胶 and that could be a good rule. If you are buying something, make sure the thing you're buying has a recycle symbol on it somewhere, which is probably in the back or in the bottom of the bottle or container.
Yeah, you can look for that. And we must also then recycle more.
Yes.
Carry that empty bottle back home in your hand or put it in your bag if you can't find somewhere to recycle it.
Yes.
Don't just throw it in any garbage can nearby. That's the best way to make sure that your garbage becomes pollution for the future. You don't want to do that.
No.
And we should also think about using our voices. Connect with companies on social media and ask them if their products are available in a way that can be recycled. And then tell them that you only want products that are good for the environment.
Yes.
If enough companies see that everyone wants cleaner, recyclable stuff like this, well, then the companies are more likely to change their ways and make products that are better for the environment.
Okay, so we want to be more careful first with what we buy.
Recycle as much as we possibly can.
And use our voices to make a change.
And then hopefully we can start to take on our growing plastic problem.
Because as it says here in the last sentence of the article, if we don't, we might not have a life or a world left.
Scary but true. Well, let's go back to Daphne for our final grammar point, and then we'll be back to sign off.
第三则文法是 Somebody has something left， 意思是某人剩下某物。Has 是 have 的第三人称单数型 ，have 是及物动词，意思是拥有。三态是 have、had。Left 是形容词，意思是剩下的，使用时常常摆在名词的后方。例如 Rory had little money left. Rory 几乎没剩下什么钱。
Okay, everyone. Well, that's all the time we have. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and please help to take care of our planet because we're all in this together.
Yes.
We'll see you soon. Until then,
Bye-bye.
Plastic is polluting our lives and the world.
There's already a large amount of plastic waste now. Around 9 million tons of it enters our seas every year. By 2040, that could grow to 29 million tons. Also by 2040, the amount on land and at sea could grow to 1.3 billion tons. Scientists say That will happen if we don't change our ways. So, we need to take action right away. We must cut our use of plastic, especially single-use plastic. We must also recycle more. If we don't, we might not have a life or a world left.
Look at this black lump. It might not look special, but it is. This is a black truffle, a very expensive food. 1 kilogram of black truffles can sell for over 2,000 US dollars. But what is a truffle? It's a type of fungus. It grows underground on the roots of trees. Truffles and trees help each other grow. Because truffles are underground, people use pigs and dogs to find them. These two animals have a good sense of smell. They can smell out the truffles in the forest. Now, how exactly do you eat truffles? We chefs like to cut them into slices and cook them into dishes. Don't worry, truffles are full of flavor, so just a few pieces are enough. We also use truffle oil to give food a truffle flavor. So have a seat. I have made a tasty truffle meal just for you.
Hello， 大家好，我是 Hanny， 又到我们1分钟的单元喽。那我们今天要用1分钟的时间来复习4个单字，还会造4个例句。同学们，您都准备好没？1分钟计时。开始，第一个单字呢，它可以表达数量或是总数。这个数量常是用来指不可数名词的数量，它叫做 amount。amount. They spent a large amount of money on the wedding. 他们那场婚礼花了一大笔钱，砸了大钱办婚礼。好，第二个单字它是用来表达垃圾或是废弃物，这个字叫做 waste。waste. 那这个字当动词也可以表达浪费哦。那我们用名词来造句 ，It's dangerous to burn household waste in the yard. 在院子里面焚烧家庭废弃物是很危险的，可能会引起火灾或者造成污染。所以这个 household waste 就是家庭废弃物。第三单字呢是副词，用来表达特别是怎么样，尤其是怎么样，用来加强用的。OK， 这字叫做 especially。She likes all kinds of music, especially jazz. 她喜欢各种类型的音乐，尤其是爵士乐。第四单字呢是回收再利用那个符号 ，OK， 回收怎么说叫 recycle。Don't forget to recycle the glass bottle. Don't forget to recycle the glass bottle. 别忘了回收那个玻璃瓶啊！可恶啊，这次又没有成功了。好啦，不管怎么样，我们下次一起继续努力吧。我们下次见，拜拜。
See you next time.